Seduction begins long before a word is spoken. It starts in the quiet moment when you decide that you are worthy of being desired. Confidence is not a mask you put on, it is a temperature you radiate, a force that bends the atmosphere around you. When you enter a room with the certainty that you belong there, eyes turn even if you say nothing. People feel the gravity of someone who is self-possessed, someone who does not chase approval because they already carry their own. But confidence is not loud, it whispers. It is the slow, deliberate gesture, the unhurried breath, the gaze that lingers just long enough to create question, not discomfort. Seduction thrives in the space between what is shown and what is withheld. Those who try too hard smother the flame. Those who reveal too much too quickly rob themselves of mystique. Hold back a little, speak with purpose, then allow silence to work on your behalf. Silence can be more seductive than any line ever spoken. To seduce with confidence, you must first understand the desires of others better than they understand them themselves. People crave to be seen not in the shallow sense of compliments, but in the deeper sense of recognition. When you listen intently, when you observe the small details others overlook, you create an aura of intimacy. You make people feel that you understand what moves them, frightens them, inspires them, and in that rare feeling of being understood, attraction grows naturally. Confidence also means mastery over your own emotions. If you are swayed by every glance of disapproval or every moment of uncertainty, you become predictable, and predictability kills intrigue. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them try to decipher you. Mystery is not a trick, it is a discipline. Do not reveal your entire story at once. Release it in fragments, each piece drawing them deeper into your orbit. Seduction is not conquest, it is an art of invitation. You do not drag someone toward you, you draw them in with a presence so compelling that approaching you feels like their own idea. True confidence never begs, never clings, never competes. It simply is, quiet, magnetic, undeniable. Hold yourself as though desire is your natural environment. Move as though rejection is irrelevant to your worth. When you master that inner state, others will feel it, and they will come closer, trying to decipher the source of your calm allure. Seduction with confidence is not about performing for others, it is about becoming someone who does not need to perform at all. To seduce with confidence, you must first cultivate an inner world so rich, so self-sustaining that you never approach another person out of hunger. People sense hunger instantly. It leaks from your posture, your tone, the way your eyes dart around searching for validation. Desire, when rooted in need, repels, but desire rooted in abundance attracts. When you carry yourself as someone who chooses rather than pleads, someone who observes rather than begs to be noticed, the dynamic shifts in your favor. You become the prize, not the petitioner. Confidence is a slow craft shaped through small, consistent actions. You refine your gestures until every movement feels intentional. You study your voice, its pacing, its warmth, its subtle variations, so that your words carry weight. You become conscious of the power of stillness. In a world obsessed with noise, stillness becomes a magnet. People lean in when someone is unhurried, self-contained, and at ease within their own skin. They notice the person who is not scrambling for attention, because that person stands apart simply by refusing to participate in the frantic rush. Seduction flourishes when you develop a deep familiarity with human behavior. Study the way people reveal themselves when they believe no one is watching: their fidgeting, their glances, their nervous laughter, their attempts to hide vulnerability. Once you begin to see the layers that others miss, you gain an advantage. You understand what soothes someone's anxiety, what sparks their curiosity, what makes them feel valued. When you mirror their rhythm, not by imitation but by connection, you create an invisible thread that pulls them toward you. Yet confidence is not merely external. It requires mastery over the inner dialogue that sabotages most people. You must silence the voice that insists you are not enough, the voice that panics in moments of uncertainty. Replace it with a mind trained to observe, to adapt, and to remain grounded. When you view every interaction not as a test of your worth but as a dance, fluid, unpredictable, and free of pressure, you eliminate fear. Fear is the true enemy of seduction. It stiffens your body, dries your wit, and blocks the instinctive charm that emerges naturally when you feel safe within yourself. There is a certain rhythm to seductive confidence. It is neither aggressive nor passive. It is fluid. You move forward and backward in perfect measure, creating an ebb and flow that is impossible to resist. Too much attention overwhelms, too little causes disinterest. The skilled seducer plays in the gray area, offering glimpses of interest while maintaining enough distance to spark pursuit. This balance is delicate, but once mastered, it becomes a language that requires no translation. People are drawn to those who carry a sense of destiny, a quiet conviction that their life is unfolding with purpose. When you speak of your ambitions with grounded certainty, neither boosting nor belittling yourself, you create the impression of someone who is going places. Attraction often begins with the imagination, and when others imagine a future with you that feels exciting, elevating, or energizing, their emotional investment deepens. Seduction is often less about physical allure and more about the emotional worlds you awaken in others. Confidence also emerges from the way you handle setbacks. Those who crumble at the smallest sign of rejection lose the mysterious aura that seduction requires. Rejection is inevitable, but how you respond determines your magnetic pull. The confident seducer treats rejection as a redirection, not a reflection of their value. They adjust, adapt, perhaps even withdraw with grace. This composure creates respect. Paradoxically, it also often reignites the interest of the very person who rejected them. People are instinctively drawn to those they cannot rattle. Control over your energy is one of your most powerful tools. Some individuals drain a room with their anxiety, others fill it with warmth or electricity. Learn to calibrate your energy depending on the moment. There are times when a soft, intimate tone draws someone closer, and times when a more vibrant presence ignites excitement. Emotional dexterity is seductive because it shows mastery. It signals that you are not reactive but responsive, not impulsive but intentional. Mystery is not about withholding information aimlessly, it is about revealing yourself gradually in a way that allows the other person to savor the unfolding. If you present everything at once, every opinion, every flaw, every desire, you flatten the experience. Mystery creates anticipation, and anticipation fuels attraction. Share stories selectively, present your strengths subtly, and allow glimpses of your vulnerability only when it deepens the connection rather than weakens your presence. Vulnerability is powerful when used with purpose. It becomes a trap when unleashed without thought. Your environment can also heighten your seductive confidence. Surround yourself with spaces that reflect your identity, clean, intentional, aesthetically pleasing environments that signal order and self-respect. When your external world mirrors your internal stability, your presence becomes more compelling. People feel more drawn to you when your world feels inviting, structured, and harmonious. It communicates that you have standards, that you cultivate beauty and balance, and that anyone allowed into that world must be chosen, not accidental. True confidence requires patience. Seduction is never rushed. When you rush, you reveal anxiety, and anxiety signals insecurity. Move through interactions with the calm assurance that what is meant for you will come, and what is not meant for you will pass. This mindset creates an aura of inevitability. People feel that they are stepping into something destined rather than forced. Patience is seductive because it shows that you are not operating from desperation but from abundance. Another pillar of seductive confidence is your relationship with solitude. The person who cannot be alone cannot seduce with ease. Solitude strengthens your self-awareness, your creativity, your emotional resilience. When you are comfortable alone, you become more selective, more discerning, and more confident in your choices. This self-reliance radiates outward. It suggests that you do not need others to fill a void but seek them to elevate an already full life. That is attractive in a way no performance can replicate. Seduction with confidence also involves a playful element. Seriousness has its place, but playfulness creates an irresistible contrast. When you tease gently, challenge lightly, or introduce a spark of mischief, you create an emotional dance that breaks monotony. Playfulness signals that you are comfortable enough with yourself to loosen the reins. It creates warmth, excitement, and a sense of shared discovery. People are drawn to those who offer a refreshing escape from the heaviness of life. To maintain seductive confidence, you must avoid emotional overinvestment too early. Many fall into the trap of projecting fantasies onto others before truly knowing them. This projection breeds neediness, and neediness destroys allure. Instead, approach every new connection with curiosity rather than attachment. Let the person reveal themselves over time. When your interest remains measured, you retain your power. You become someone who chooses carefully, not someone swept away by early infatuation. Equally important is the ability to communicate with precision. Confidence is amplified by clarity. Speak with intention. When you express a compliment, make it specific. When you state a boundary, make it firm but graceful. When you share desires, make them honest but never overly revealing. People trust those who communicate with clarity, and trust is a foundation of attraction. Ambiguity can create intrigue, but chaotic communication creates confusion, and confusion is the enemy of confidence. A confident seducer respects time. They do not linger too long in conversations that have lost their spark, nor do they cling to interactions that are not reciprocated. They understand that their presence is valuable, and they treat it as such. When you demonstrate respect for your own time, others instinctively value it more. You teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. Moreover, physical presence plays a crucial role. You need not be conventionally attractive to seduce confidently. You simply need to embody your unique features with pride. Wear clothing that enhances your natural strengths. Adopt posture that conveys ease rather than tension, and move with deliberation rather than haste. When you inhabit your body fully and confidently, others feel your presence, not because of superficial beauty but because of the way you carry yourself. Seduction with confidence also requires sensitivity to pacing. Every connection has its own tempo. Some interactions call for slow unfolding, others for quick intensity. When you push too quickly, you create resistance. When you move too slowly, you create doubt. Pay attention to the cues, the shifts in tone, the micro expressions, the rhythm of the conversation. When you match the pacing naturally, you create harmony, and harmony is inherently seductive. Understand that the deepest allure comes from authenticity. Confidence built on a facade eventually cracks. True confidence comes from alignment, when your actions match your values, your words match your intentions, and your presence matches your inner state. People are drawn to those who are internally cohesive, who do not scatter themselves trying to impress, who do not dilute themselves to fit expectations. When you stand firmly in who you are, unapologetic yet open, strong yet adaptable, you embody a force that others cannot easily forget. Seduction with confidence is not a technique but a transformation. It is the unfolding of a self so grounded, so deliberate, and so attuned to the world that attraction becomes a natural consequence rather than a manufactured goal. It is the art of becoming someone whose presence alone is enough to stir curiosity, whose calm ignites desire, and whose essence invites others into a dance they do not wish to end. Confidence in seduction grows when you understand the natural pull of emotional contrast. Humans are wired to respond not to constant stimulation, but to shifts in tone, energy, and attention. If you are always intense, you overwhelm. If you are always calm, you become predictable. Seduction thrives when you alternate subtly between warmth and restraint, boldness and softness, presence and distance. This creates an emotional rhythm that keeps others engaged without ever feeling manipulated. They feel drawn in because the experience of you is alive, textured, and ever changing. To cultivate this rhythm, you must learn to attune yourself to the emotional currents of every interaction. Instead of rushing to speak, observe the atmosphere. Is the other person tense, distracted, curious, bored? When you identify their emotional state, you can adjust your tone and pacing to guide the interaction. This is not about pretending, it's about mastery, about being able to shift naturally and effortlessly. People feel safe around those who can adapt without losing themselves. They feel seen, understood, and subtly led. Another dimension of seductive confidence is the ability to embrace discomfort. Many people flee from awkward silences, difficult conversations, or moments of vulnerability. But these moments are often where connection deepens. When you remain steady in discomfort, when you do not panic, over-explain, or try to fill the void with meaningless chatter, you demonstrate emotional resilience. Silence, when confidently held, becomes a canvas on which tension builds, curiosity grows, and intimacy forms. Others lean into that silence because it feels charged, not empty. Your presence becomes even more magnetic when you develop a refined sense of timing. The timing of a glance, a compliment, a pause, a touch, these small choices can change the entire trajectory of desire. Too early, and the moment collapses. Too late, and the opportunity dissolves. But when your timing aligns with the emotional buildup, your actions feel inevitable, even natural. People remember the person who seemed to know exactly when to speak and when to hold back, when to advance and when to retreat. Mastery of timing comes from practice and from trusting your intuition rather than overthinking. Confidence in seduction is also shaped by the way you frame your life narrative. People are drawn to those whose stories evoke intrigue, ambition, resilience, or transformation. When you share your experiences, speak with a quiet conviction. Talk about challenges you overcame, not to boast, but to reveal depth. Share aspirations, not to impress, but to express vision. A compelling self-narrative makes you larger than the moment, and this enlarges the emotional space you occupy in the other person's mind. They begin to see you not simply as someone they are speaking to, but as someone they could journey with, someone with momentum and purpose. At the same time, seductive confidence requires a deep understanding of emotional generosity. True seduction is not selfish, it is a gift. It is the ability to make someone feel more alive in your presence. When you inspire someone to think more deeply, laugh more freely, relax more fully, or dream more boldly, they begin to associate you with emotional elevation. They feel better because of you, and that feeling becomes addictive. Emotional generosity transforms your presence from merely interesting to irresistible. But generosity must be balanced by boundaries. Too much giving without limits becomes enabling. Too much availability becomes neediness. Confidence shines through your ability to say no without hostility and to step back when necessary. Boundaries signal that you respect yourself, your time, and your emotional energy. People may test your boundaries intentionally or not. How you respond reveals your true level of self-possession. When you maintain firmness without aggression, clarity without coldness, you send a message. You are not afraid to lose someone if the cost is losing yourself. A powerful yet often overlooked aspect of seduction is intellectual curiosity. When your mind is active, when you think deeply, learn continuously, explore ideas with passion, you develop an allure that transcends physical appearance. People are fascinated by those who are fascinated by life. Curiosity is contagious. It pulls others into your world. You do not need to be an expert in everything, just genuinely interested in the complexities of human experience. When you ask thoughtful questions, when you listen with depth, when you respond with insight, you create intellectual intimacy, and intellectual intimacy often becomes emotional intimacy. Confidence also grows when you take mastery of your emotional triggers. Everyone has insecurities, old wounds, and psychological patterns that can surface in moments of attraction. The difference between an average seducer and a confident one lies not in the absence of these triggers, but in the ability to navigate them. When jealousy arises, you observe it rather than act on it. When self-doubt surfaces, you acknowledge it without letting it dictate your behavior. Emotional mastery creates an aura of stability. Others sense that you are not easily shaken, and that steadiness becomes deeply attractive. Seduction with confidence also thrives on a sense of play. Many people forget that attraction is supposed to be enjoyable, not laborious. When you bring a lightness into your interactions, moments of humor, creativity, unpredictability, you create a shared emotional playground. Play allows people to drop their defenses. It creates memories that stand out. It turns ordinary moments into something vibrant and memorable. When someone feels they can be more themselves around you, they naturally want to be near you more often. You must also understand the subtle power of contrast in your persona. Humans are drawn to complexity. The person who is kind but unyielding when necessary, gentle but capable of fire, calm but full of passion beneath the surface. When your personality contains these contrasts, not contradictions but layers, you become endlessly interesting. People sense that there is more to discover, more to understand, more to experience. This feeling keeps desire alive long after the initial spark. Confidence in seduction deepens when you stop seeking guarantees. Many people fear uncertainty in relationships and attraction. They want to know exactly where they stand, how the other person feels, what the future holds. This desire for certainty leaks insecurity. Instead, embrace uncertainty as part of the game. Let things unfold without forcing clarity too early. When you show that you do not need immediate reassurance, you communicate inner strength. Paradoxically, your comfort with uncertainty often makes others seek certainty with you. Another crucial element of seductive confidence is the ability to make others feel chosen, not targeted. When you speak to someone, give them the feeling that you are captivated by something uniquely theirs. Gesture a viewpoint, a spark in their personality. Avoid generic compliments. They dilute your impact. Specific attention feels intimate. It tells the other person that you are present, alert, and genuinely interested. Being deeply, consciously attentive is one of the rarest skills in human interaction, and it is inherently seductive. At the heart of seductive confidence lies an understanding of emotional pacing. Share just enough of yourself to maintain intrigue, reveal vulnerability carefully, and express desire in a way that feels both intentional and effortless. When someone senses that you are confident enough to express interest but self-respectful enough not to cling, they respond with curiosity rather than caution. The dance of interest and restraint, presence and distance keeps the connection alive. The way you speak also shapes your seductive confidence. Speak slowly enough to show that you are not rushed by anxiety. Choose words with care. Let your voice carry warmth without excessive enthusiasm. A voice that conveys calm certainty is far more potent than one filled with nervous energy. The rhythm of your speech can create a sense of intimacy even before any meaningful words are exchanged. Your relationship with your physical presence matters as well. You do not need perfect features, but you must inhabit yourself fully. People are drawn to those who appear comfortable in their own skin. Stand with natural posture. Make your movements deliberate rather than jerky or rushed. Look at others with intention, not desperation. A steady gaze, when balanced with moments of softness, creates a powerful pull. Confidence becomes visible through your body long before it is heard through your words. To seduce with confidence, cultivate a life that reflects your values. When your lifestyle has coherence, when your choices mirror your inner desires, you radiate authenticity. This authenticity creates gravitational pull. Others sense that you are not pretending, not performing, not contorting yourself to fit expectations. You are anchored, and anchored people attract effortlessly because they resist nothing, they flow. Another dimension of seductive confidence is embracing the unknown within yourself. People become more intriguing when they are still unfolding. When you are engaged in your personal evolution, learning new skills, exploring new environments, challenging your own limitations, you project a sense of movement. You become exciting not because you try to be, but because you naturally are. Attraction thrives in motion, and you become a source of that motion simply by pursuing growth. A powerful yet quiet aspect of seductive confidence lies in your ability to make others feel comfortable expressing themselves. When you listen without judgment, when you create emotional safety, when you respond with presence rather than distraction, you build trust. Trust deepens desire. Trust makes openness possible. Trust transforms casual attraction into something rich and enduring. The person who can evoke trust effortlessly becomes unforgettable. Seductive confidence emerges when you no longer fear being alone, misunderstood, or rejected. When you see yourself as whole, even without external validation, your energy shifts. You approach others not to fill a void, but to share a life already in bloom. You speak not to be liked, but to express truth. You seek not to impress, but to connect. This self-contained wholeness is the ultimate source of allure. It attracts without effort because it reflects the rarest of human qualities, inner freedom. When you embody this freedom, your seduction becomes an extension of your essence, not a tactic. Your presence becomes a quiet flame, steady, inviting, mesmerizing. People are drawn not because you reach for them, but because the warmth of your confidence naturally pulls them closer. In the end, seducing with confidence is not about technique, appearance, or clever words. It is about becoming someone whose inner world is so steady, so alive, and so self-sufficient that others feel elevated simply by being near you. When you cultivate depth instead of desperation, presence instead of performance, intention instead of impulse, you transform seduction into something effortless. The strongest allure is born not from trying to be chosen, but from choosing yourself first. When you move through the world with that quiet certainty, with a heart unafraid, a mind unshakable, and a spirit unapologetically your own, you don't just attract attention, you command it.